Hey YouTube, for the guys that are thinking about getting into some woodworking or already started as a beginner in woodworking, I wanted to share a few things I found along the way. I am by no means a professional, and I'm one of these guys that kind of figured it out on my own. So what I wanted to share with you was, if you're going to get into cutting bowls, you can buy these kind of blanks off of Amazon. They're 6x3s, and there's several vendors on Amazon selling them. That's a good place to start. This is actually a 3-inch blank that I started with. Did this one fall of last year. It's actually a piece of cherry. Put it up there so you can see a little bit better. And this guy here, you can see where I've turned the first operation. I've turned, this is actually the bottom of the bowl. And what I do is I take a Forstner bit and go in and countersink that to where I have something where I can put my chuck on, and I actually use a 3-jaw chuck to turn it around and then cut the inside out. So if you're going to do the small ones, the blanks are a good way to start. If you're on a budget that may be a little too costly for you, you know, you're going to spend 15 bucks a piece for these, maybe 20 to get started with. So I would find somebody that is selling them reasonable and just get them off of Amazon. Be sure you get kiln dried. Don't get the green stuff. If you get green, it's going to crack. It's easy to turn, it's soft, it's easy to turn, no doubt about it, but it will crack. So I highly recommend going with kiln dried. Now, if you want to get into the bigger stuff, like this guy here, that's actually a 10-inch. That's 4 inches deep. You're going to have to go with something like this, which is a piece of poplar that I bought at Lowe's. It's a finished 1x12. They're running between $20 and $24 a piece, and you're going to have to learn how to laminate. So to do that, I'll show you real quick. All you have to do is cut these into squares. So you set your square for the width of the board this way, and then all I do is go in like this and mark it off like that. And then strike my line. I do that all the whole length of the board, and then I cut those up into sections. Now, I'm not going to bore you with actually cutting that board up. I've already got some cut here, but I am going to show you the beginnings of lamination. So I'm going to come right back to that here just in a second. Alright, so we've got our boards cut into squares, and we're going to laminate these guys. One little trick that I found that works the best is if you buy a roller, these little guys like this, and you buy the smooth rollers, it really works well when it comes to applying the glue. If you get ones that are a little more hairy, you don't get a good even coat. So I recommend the smooth one. And we're going to need a lot of clamps when we get ready to do this. You can buy these at Harbor Freight for about $3.50 a piece, so they're not expensive. And that's why it's important when you get ready to start a project like this that you buy a finished board, because these things have to be flat and smooth, and it just works out a whole lot better, and we'll get good seams as a result. I think I've got the camera pulled up a little closer here. Let's see if you can actually see. Now, you may be able to see the seams, but they're not very visible, and that's what we want. We want that to fit really tight. So, nothing exotic about this process. We're just going to squeeze it on, and we're going to roll it. And we want to make sure we get all the surfaces coated. And what I like to do is coat both surfaces before I put them together. I want to get my video cord there remote in the glue. So this is it. We're going to glue up these 4 pieces, and I should have put my gloves on and I didn't. I recommend you wear some surgical gloves or something like that. Just makes it a little neater. And we're going to do it again. Give this guy a little more glue this time. And start in again. I like working with poplar. It's very soft, and I think it's a pretty wood. And it really makes for a nice looking bowl. So we're going to go ahead and slap these 2 together just like this. Make sure I got this so you can see it in the camera. So that's it. We just put them together like that. Line them up. Get them as square as you can. Looks like we're off just a little bit there. It isn't going to hurt a thing. And then move on to the next one. Actually, I think I'll just go ahead and do this. And we'll get them both put together at the same time then. The glue I'm using there again, I bought at Lowe's. It's a Tight Bond Premium 2. Seems to be good stuff. I've been using it on several projects now. Haven't had anything come apart. And that's the important part of it, is that they stay together. So we're going to get these all glued up and applied. And like I say, I do both surfaces just to make sure I've got an adequate amount of glue spread. And then I just put them together. That's all there is to it. That's the first part. And we got time. This stuff doesn't set up real quick. So we got time to move it around and get it as square as we can. And then we'll do it again. I think it's interesting, I'm seeing some of these bigger bowls on Amazon, and you can see them for $40, $50 a piece, and then I'm seeing other ones for 20 bucks a piece. Well, I got $24 in this piece of wood, and there's a lot of work into getting these turned out, so I don't know how they sell them for 24 bucks, a little more on the corners there. Go ahead and get this spread. And we're close here. Now, the important part. Remember to clean your darn roller. I had to work to get my roller apart this morning because I left it on there and it was wet. So that turned into a project just getting that off. So we're pretty square there. What I like to do is just set them up, get them as square as I can, and then we get into these guys. Now this is the important part. I highly recommend that you use at least 4 clamps, and then you're not going to have to worry about them coming apart. Also, when I buy these pieces of wood like this, I leave it in the house until I get ready to put it together, because it doesn't take a lot of moisture for it to move. So you want to keep them as dry as you can until you get ready to bite down on them. And we'll go at it this way. Nothing really exact about it, except for the part of we want to make sure we get a really good bite and keep these seams together. Now what I'm going to do while I got it right here, this is just a welding clamp. I'm just going to put that right here. so I can really get a good bite on it. To make sure I got a good seal. There we go. Put the last one on, and then I recommend you leave it for at least 24 hours to make sure that glue cures. So that's it. We're going to let that set, and then we're going to chuck it up, and we're going to get ready to do some turning. Alright, so it's been about 24 hours since we glued this guy up. We're going to get it taken back apart and then show you what I feel is the next step to getting this ready to turn on our lathe. Get our clamps out of the way here. I like how easy those are to take off. Little snap and we're good. Now before you go to turn this, at this point I like to find the center, and we can do that really easy just by going corner to corner and striking a line like that. And another one here. So there's our center. Now, before you turn this, you can either take and cut about a 45-degree off the corners like that, or we can take our compass and draw a circle and then cut the circle out, because you don't want to try and turn this with those corners on. The only thing it's going to do is wind up cracking and splitting and causing all kinds of problems. So for this part, I like to just take my compass, get it set out there to about the max that I can go. See how we're looking there. Looks pretty good, gives me a little material to work with. So we're just going to catch the top. So I'm going to strike a line this way all the way around. And if you're right, you're going to come really close, and we did. I think my compass just moved. Yeah, it did a little bit. Probably ought to tighten that up. Like that. So now we got a nice circle. And as far as I'm concerned, it's easier to take this over on the bandsaw and cut that circle out, because it's going to save you a whole lot of turning. And I just, from a personal standpoint, think it's easier. So we're going to cut this out on the saw, and then one thing I can show you here. This is for my shopsmith driver for the power unit. When you put your center in there like that, you can get this set up so you can rifle sight down across the top, or you can measure in from the sides to make sure you got it in the center, and that way it's going to run straight and true for you. So we'll cut this out on the bandsaw and then come back and show you where we're going to pick it up from there. Okay, so we've got our blank cut out now. For you guys that are new, maybe to shopsmith or wood turning for your shop out back, this is the actual driver for the shopsmith. I'll get it up there so you can see it. What we're going to do, since we've already got our center, we're just going to rifle sight down through where the shaft is going to go. And then if you want, it doesn't hurt to measure over to the side to see how close you are that way. That looks close enough. And what I like to do is use a Torx head screw. And there's a triangle pattern on this driver. I'm just going to drive these screws right down into that. So we'll get a good bite there. Still looks pretty close on center. And that's it. Now we're just going to take that, put it in our lathe, get ready to start turning. Okay, so I've got our bowl turned around and we're going to start plunging in with these Forstner bits. And the whole idea is we want to take out as much wood inside the bowl as we can to eliminate having to do a whole lot of turning. So I'm going to do this in 3 different steps: small, medium, and a large. And hopefully we'll get this to the point where we won't have quite so much that we have to turn out of the inside of the bowl anyway. So here we go. So that's the first one. Now we're going to take it up a step. There's number 2. Okay, what I actually did there is I went from a 2-inch to a 3-inch to a 3.5-inch bit to open that up. And you probably noticed it was real quiet during a couple of those. It's because I forgot to turn my microphone back on, but I figured you didn't need to hear that thing cutting anyway. So that's the idea. We want to get this to where we can get that opened up so we don't have quite so much material to take out when we get ready to start turning. And I'll go into a little bit of turning in the next video. Okay, so when we're all finished, hopefully you're going to come out with a bowl that looks something like this. That's our poplar bowl. It's about 11 inches in diameter. And if you're doing something like this for your grandkids, I would recommend that you put your name on it. That's going to be backwards on the camera, I know, but at least ways I think it is. I can't see it that well either. Anyway, your kids might get a kick out of it down the road. And I'm not going to get into the actual turning aspects of the bowl as far as chisels and shapes and angles and so on and so forth. There are a lot of videos out there from guys a lot better at it than I am. They can show you how to actually turn it out once we've hogged out most of the material with our Forstner bits. But I did want to leave you with this, and I should have done it at the beginning, so it's an afterthought. Personal protection equipment. Highly recommend when you're sanding or you're turning and you're looking at some really fine dust. If you don't have a vacuum hooked up or some means of pulling the dust away from you, I recommend, this is just a 3M respirator that you can pick up at Lowe's. And also a face shield to protect your eyes. And the one reason I went with this one is because of the way it's shaped down around your chin. You can actually adjust that so it goes under your chin and helps keep the dust away from your respiratory system. So that's it. I hope I've helped you if you're just getting started. If I have, please like and share this so maybe we can help some other guys getting into the hobby. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot to learn, and enjoy it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave comments below. Thanks, and we'll catch you next time.